Alright, so I'm going to drop the levels the same way that I drop levels. I'm going to draw these up on the daily first, any big levels on the daily, and then I'm going to draw the levels on the hourly for how I draw levels. I'm not going to draw anything like way back down here because we're like several thousand points away from it. There's no point right now to draw those. It's not realistic targets. But on the daily, there's only going to be probably a couple ones that are really important. I mean, in one day we could probably see a couple thousand point move, so I'll go look and see. There's like one right here. So what I look for is for support and resistance. I really am just looking for where we've got wicks, where we turn around, and where we've got the bodies of candles to help define the area. So for me, this is like a pivot point between these two, and that one is a little bit bigger than I would draw on the hourly. So if you draw the daily levels, they're big important levels. The hourly is what I would use to trade with, because this is what 150 point range, and so it's not realistic to trade off of this on like a 5-minute time frame. But I do like to draw the levels to kind of see where they sit for the daily first. And they don't change that often, obviously, on the daily, just if you start trending out of a range that you've marked up in the past, then draw. So I drop the dailies infrequently, and then I would draw the hourlies. I'm drawing these up from scratch. I deleted everything from the chart just to make it easy for this video. But so I'm going to keep going. Got on the daily, we've got another level, probably right here, that we've said didn't really want to trade between before. I think we've got some wicks on both sides of the bodies. We've got some more wicks that support that. We've also got wicks on both sides of the trade here at about 28,800. So for me, I'm looking for a confluence of where we have bodies, and it's probably from here to here. So that's 834 down to 700. So again, these are large ranges, and they don't have to be perfect. They're just to try and give us, until you get comfortable seeing these when you trade, these are just to give you a visual cue as to where you might see price react from, turn around, so on and so forth, where you see it slow down, price slow down into a range. So I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit more. And that looks good enough for Crayola. Alright, so that we'll draw maybe one more in here. Maybe one or two more on the daily side. We can probably draw one near the top where there's an all-time high. We've got an all-time high. I don't have a body on a candle to confirm that, but it's probably up there. And then we had a gap up in this range, but we've got probably some support right here. And then I don't really have a good body to match this tail against. But we'll start with one from here for now. See where we get. We've got our pivot here is covered. Really have a pivot in the middle here. We've got wicks on both sides. This is indecision, but some resistance here again, and we've got resistance here, and here. So might be that we're looking at a level like this, or if we find where more of the wicks are, maybe we're right in here somewhere. Again, I don't really have a body to match this to where I would normally like to draw bodies, so this level might not be that meaningful. We've pivoted around it several times. So it gives me some confidence that we're okay here is when I draw the one here, and if I go to match the wick of this level, then it coincides with the resistance we had here, here, and here. So I think that about does it for levels on the daily. And then again, I'm not going to use these levels to trade on the hourly. So these just give me an idea of where we got some meaningful pivots on the daily, and I'm not going to draw anything further down from there. So on the last 30 days of trading price action, I've only marked what, 5 levels. Yeah, 5 levels. There's probably one right here too on the daily where we've slowed down a couple times. Not meaningful structure to the left here, but I will catch this level on the hourly, I'm sure, because we'll see the same price action on the hourly. But that probably represents a good level, and I drew this based on having some defined support and resistance on these candles, and then having bodies of candles where on the daily we closed, we wicked down, but price wasn't really accepted in this area. And I'm just going to just match the two bodies of these two candles for one of these levels. Okay, so I've drawn these up, and now I'm going to take it down to an hourly to go get it's a little bit more, some more levels for us to be able to trade on, because again, these on the daily, you could buy and sell off of these. You could have bought last night at midnight on the bottom of this level and held as it just pushed up, but it's not for intraday trading, it's not meaningful to have just daily or even 4-hour levels defined. You need to really define something a little bit more granular to be able to trade, and it's helps with some of the pivot points as to where things pivot. The big psychological levels at 150, at every 100 level and every 50 level, they're going to be close to where these levels show up. The market is fairly it supports those levels very well. So let me go back. Let's see where price is trading right now. We're at 29,950. So I'm not going to mark anything up below. Let's give it a couple thousand. Let's give it 1,000 points. We had a 1,600 point drop on Friday on the 5th. And then another one here. So maybe 1,500 points, which 3,000 takes me down to 28,500. So I'll mark down to here as the low for now. I'm not going to really mark up more than that. You should get the idea of how I'm drawing the levels up. But so if that floor is down here, then all I'm going to look for is the same thing I just drew on the dailies, just a little bit more in terms of structure. I have a pivot point right here where price traded up, rejected off of, then retested straight through it, then got support, got support, got support, got support. So for me, this is a level right here. We'll probably trade it here, and I'm just going to change this to, these are the standard ones that I use for drawing these out when I'm walking through things. And let me just tighten up this level a little bit. Usually you want levels to be about, on NQ, these support and resistance levels usually operate in bands of about 25 points. So, yes, sir. Yes, I am charting on TradingView. So, this rectangle is a standard rectangle. It's just standard rectangle, and all I did to it was I changed the background color to purple. I put a middle line in, gave it a dashed line, and then I have a white border. And then if you have the option to extend it left and right, so it doesn't stop. I could start these here, so if you want to know where you kind of started drawing it, but I just extend them right and left as we trade back into price. If you draw a level up on something over here and you want to confirm without having to start, like, I don't know if this is, yeah, there was like, I'll give you an example right here. This was a push up and it pivoted around it, but that might not be enough for me to draw a level on. I could, but if I happen to come over here and say, man, look at the support that I get here, and I draw it up, then I can, extending it left, I can go back and confirm after it plays out that I've got something in place. So yeah, it's the rectangle. It's normally this will say like brush, and then if you come down and pick the shape of rectangle or Alt Shift R, then you can draw one, and then you can modify it. So if the default would be, you know, this, and all I did was add a middle color, changed the border to like a light gray, and then I extended it left and right, and that's all I did. And then I saved it as a template so that I can draw a normal one, and then you can save this as a template. So I picked this support resistance area as the name of it, and then once I've saved that, I can come back and draw it again, and I don't have to do that every time. And whatever one you save last is the one it uses. So all right, stop loss. I'm going to keep drawing boxes here. So no, all good, man. This is why I was doing the recording with you guys around, so I could answer questions too. No worries at all. So I drew one here, and you know, I think it probably belongs. And these levels don't have to be perfect, right? They're not. These are not intended to be like spot on. But I've got really the bodies up here, at kind of the 50s, and you could say, well, why don't you make the whole range like this, right? Where I've got bodies to bodies. If this gets too big, then when you're trading in it, if you've got a 50-point range, right, or an 80-point range, I guess, 380 to 460, like, how do you trade that, right? How do you trade an 80-point range? It's not very valuable to trade if it's too big a range. And we haven't even come back into that area. So really, this just gives you an idea if something at about 25 points where you might expect to see a pivot, right? So maybe this maybe this level kind of coincides with the 400 level, 28.4, which looks fine. I'm gonna keep going and draw some more. So like this looks like an interesting level here where I've got some resistance here on the way up. I hit it again, and then when I get through it, I've got all this support, and then I get all this support again here. So to me, this is, the wicks can go through the level, but I want the bodies to stay on the edges of it for the most part. So I could draw them here, or I could draw them here. I think I'm gonna draw them just on the edge of this down to here, and that captures the wicks where we turned around here, captures the wicks where we turned around here, and then we've got some more wicks here. So maybe we anchor it to the body here, and it's about a 30-point range, so that's about right. It's about somewhere in here. It's about right. And we're going to see, we'll see as we continue on, you'll start to see some things shape up, which is, this was a daily level, so I can see, it's a bigger range. I had to push into it, I failed off of it, I tested up kind of off the midpoint, failed, then got support again on the bottom of this range where it had struggled to get into it, and then I pushed up and through it. And this happens frequently when you're passing through these ranges, that you can frequently get big pushes straight through it, because price doesn't really want to be in this range. So it failed here on the hourly, it traded straight through it out of the range, tested it, traded through it and back up, accepted price up here, down and back up, accepted out of the range, out of the range, out of the range, traded beneath it, didn't really want to accept in the range down here again, and then when it open trading, it traded straight back out of it. So I'll draw a couple more. This is an interesting point. This might have been an open, 930. So this is an open and a maybe reversal. Could have been a news thing that happened, but I'm just looking for, where we've got some support and resistance, which will come up. We'll just follow price. So we've got some in here again. And again, this is the daily level where we've didn't like to be here, and then we traded kind of through it, and we traded a 50% of it and pushed back away from it, and then traded back through it. But I think we're gonna. I mean, there's a shelf here again, and this is like exactly kind of what I'm looking for on the hourly. We've got bodies that with wicks above it, and then we've got we've got opposite opposing bodies with wicks beneath them. So that to me is the pivot zone here. You can see we did accept in this range, but you kind of held it as support, right? So this level 250, 260, probably a really important level here. If I were to do this on a shorter time frame, it's probably something like this, where we've got we just do not want to be in this level. So I draw them. I tend to draw them kind of body to body. That gives me the range. And then if I come to the right, so I drew this based on what I'm seeing here. Come to the right, I can see it held at this level, almost traded through it, but couldn't decide what to do, and then traded out of it. And then, I got a retest here, which if you're looking for positions against this, and on the hourly, it shot up here at the 9 o'clock candle, so maybe at the open, and then we pushed down. But when we trade back up into this range, we had some resistance here. We hit some resistance here, then we got support to hold out of it, and then we got a push out of it. Again, a trade back through, resistance to not go back and accept in that area. Opened back down here, traded down, traded back through it. We traded up, and then opened here. Opened here, traded all the way up, traded all the way back down, and then held basically the 50% level, and then we got support to push off of it. We hit the 50% here and here, so I've got good confluence that this level is one of interest at 280. So unlike some of the big ones at like the 100 level, this one, I drew this one up and it seems to be okay. So I'll go back and draw a couple more, because usually you get 2 bands or so for about every 100 points. Sometimes only one, sometimes a little bit more. So we've got some more resistance here at the top. And so here's all this resistance. All of this is resistance here. And all of this is support. So just draw something in between those two where we've got all this support and resistance. I'll use the bodies to help, but so even though this is all support and resistance, I don't really know where to draw it if I just look at these 10 or so candles. But then as I come over here, I've now got price, where my box went. I can use those bodies as an idea, and I can use, where's my box at? This is the challenge sometimes when drawing this. I can now use these, maybe this body gives me the other band. So those and those. One thing, I haven't done this yet on this chart with these drawings, but if you draw them and you feel like they're pretty good, you should lock them so that they don't get moved when you're dragging. If you drag to pan around like I do, sometimes you might grab one like this and you're trying to go left and you just moved your level. So usually good idea to, if you see them and they look like they're good, I'll zoom out a little bit. I think I'm going to move it down a little bit. If you think they're good, then you can go ahead and lock them in. Let's see, we still haven't even gotten back to much price action. This move up was pretty quick. Okay, so trying to find the bodies that match up here. So we've got some bodies over here, but I don't have a pairing for the top side. So I think I'm going to stick with my first one here. Put it right here, where I've got close enough for the crayons. So a lot of wicks stop entering this area. Some of them trade through it. Then we get support, and then Again, the body opens here and accepts price above it, wick here, trade through it. 50% marks the open and close of those bodies. So I think I'm gonna lock that one in too. All right, so we have another one over here with, and I can see some of the body structure here too. So there's definitely, we hit a pivot here. Let's see. Is it off of here? Maybe up to here. So maybe, yeah, it's maybe here to here. Just a little bit higher here. Something like that. Get the bodies and the candles that don't, the wicks don't accept in that range. And then what I'm going to see is, so without having the view of the rest of it, I drew it kind of based on the bodies of these two over here. So 448 to 471. And if I look, I get a wick that trades all the way to the end of it. I get the bodies pivoting on either side of it. I got another wick trading to the top of it. I got two bodies holding below it. Looks a pretty good level to me, so I'll lock that one in. And I can unlock it and adjust if I see something else change over, as you go forward in time, but it looks pretty good. Again, bodies here. So when I'm trading these levels or around them, I'm just going to look for, I'm just on the 5 minute, and I'll go down to it for the moment just to show you. On the 5 minute, it comes back up. I look for it, the level to hold. So if I come to the 5 minute, I come to one of these levels. I think I just drew this. Which one did I just draw? 470. I think I just drew this one. So on the 5 minute, if I'm taking a short, I'm good until the body of the 5 minute candle closes above the wicks or closes out of the zone. And then that's an indication on the 5 minute for a long. Usually with the retest, we didn't get a retest here. It traded up, and then as it entered this, it turned around, and as it came back down through this zone, I'm looking at the kind of the edges of this level as locations to potentially take a trade. So we accept it back into the range. This is a retest out of it when this candle, so see this candle start to print down here. I know I can probably take a short with the retest of this candle, right? So price trades below it. I could put a sell here with a stop just on the other side, so I can give it a 25 point stop, right? And then sell on this edge, or I could sell half the range at a 15 or 20 point stop, depending on the size of it. So that gives you a way to reduce risk. So if I look at some of the other levels, got support here and here. Kind of all of these are support, and then we trade through it. We try to trade back through it, resistance, and then we're just chopping through it. So not a lot to do with like trades like this in this area, which is okay. Staying out of the trade sometimes is as good as finding and catching the right one. Options for a buy entry off this one, because you've traded through it and the body's closed above, so you look for a retest of that level. So this might be an entry, that might be an entry. This one might have wicked you out, but that's okay. And so sometimes I'll look at the 5 minute just to give me some, when I drew this on the hourly on its levels, and sometimes the 5 minute gives you a couple clues to see, well, hey, was your level right or not, or are you off a little bit? And so I drew it on the hourly. That looks pretty good. Wick into the zone, failed, pushed off of it. Not much to tell me over here. But this zone, we might adjust it based on some of this price action. Maybe we unlock it and we move it down a hair. See how does it look if I move it down to 73 and 73 to or 74. How does it look if does it change anything? So maybe this needs to be a little bit. Now I can't see the numbers here. So we're going from it was 73 to 43, about 75 to call it 55. 20 points, 25 points. So if it's about that height in this range, I'm just looking for when I have some price to compare it against, because this is when we traded into it, we traded out of it. So all I want to do is just kind of see, does it line up, like, so I can use it to trade off of. And I think it generally does. It's about right. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but about right. I could have taken a trade off the bounce, the retest of the edge of the level, the hold of the body in this above this level with the retest. So it's good enough. So I'm going to go back to the hourly and draw a couple more of these levels. We're back into the, let's see. Guess I need to draw some down here as well. I started some on the bottom and I've got some on the top. Skip some in between. But we can just probably start going up with it and draw one about every 100 points or every 50 points, plus or minus a little bit, and you'll be close enough to start trading off of. There's likely one here where you've got the bodies across all these candles, and then you've got the bodies here. Probably a good level. So I've got body here, body here, body there, wick back up into it, wicks holding above it, bodies outside of it, so that's probably good. And you can, if you're doing this, you can actually keep your levels. You can lock these levels, but then also you can come into your object tree. So if you right click on this and go to object tree, you can see which ones you have and if you lock them or not. Let's say you get to the point where like there's just too much crap on my screen. I can't trade it like this, or it's not important anymore. You can hide them here, and this is also how you can move them from different time frames. So I'm gonna draw up a couple more. Not in love with it yet, so this one I won't lock because we don't really have any confluence that's meaningful. Even until here, that's not super helpful from a candle structure perspective. Don't have bodies, I don't have wicks in here. The only thing I drew this to was the edge of this wick, but it's not meaningful yet, so we'll see if anything else comes into play. We've got a lot of wicks and bodies here, so maybe this should be tightened up just a little bit. Maybe it comes down to about 65, so it's at, yeah, so 30 to 60 is probably good. It's close enough. It gives us something to look at. I've got some holds here, got some wicks here, bodies staying beneath it for the most part. It goes up just a hair. All right, I'm gonna lock that one. And that's I mean that's when I talk to you guys about those levels, that's all I'm doing. You can also see, Eric has his levels indicator as well. I've tried to look at some of these. We're a little bit far away from where we are. He's got, I drew a daily. He's got a daily drawn here. I didn't do 4 hours. I only did the hourlies. I haven't drawn up all these levels. So he's got some hourlies here. I haven't drawn up. How far did I go? So I only drew up to here. So don't have an overlap to show you on that, but I need to give Eric some more feedback on that, just as I keep drawing these up. Nothing's wrong. I haven't drawn up the levels to give you the feedback on yet, Eric. Just since I'm going through the exercise of actually drawing them out, I will see where they map to in terms of the. Yep. I haven't done this from scratch for a while, so. Yep. And so I'm recording a little snippet for YouTube, so you'll get that as well. And but that's pretty much it. The only thing you do at the end of this is just just copy your you can come in here and easily lock them all too, and then you can just take all of these. I should be able to select all these here. I don't know what's going on here. You should be able to select these and drag them to your other chart. You should be able to move them over. Oh yeah, I want to sync these in the layout. I think that should give me. You can sync them. You can sync them either way. So you can sync them globally or in the layout, and then everything in this layout will be there. And then you just hit save on your TradingView thing. So that's it. This is not, it takes a little time to do. Once you've done your hourly levels, your daily levels, you don't have to do this that often. There's not, unless you move significantly in a range or outside of a range, then you don't have to go through and do all this work. You draw them up once on your hourly or your daily time frame, or use the indicator Eric's got for you, and then you can come in and trade off them, and that's all I do. So I look at these levels, and I'm looking for daily. I look for a bias and direction. So I look for balance in candles daily, like when where are we opening, where are we going to trade to. So I expected some pullback on this run up from significant run up on the daily. I mean, just like 15 days of price moving up. So we're looking for some correction. I'm still looking for 26,500 as the retest of the previous high, which we have not done. So whether that's coming soon or later, but I'm expecting us to trade back toward it. The here we've kind of indecision about which direction we want to go in, been kind of just grinding higher. I do expect either news on Wednesday or some other events to help push us back down. So I am looking for maybe we push up a bit further, to maybe a daily level here. I think I've been talking about the 300s before. So kind of the bodies here, this pivot here, which I did not draw, but we retested that once here at the 300s on Thursday before the 4th of July. Then we get kind of thinking we probably trade up a little bit here, maybe trade back toward 200, and then we actually repivot around here. We could open with some bearish push. That's what I'd kind of expect. But as we open, I think the market actually just opened. Yeah. So the market literally just opened, and I have no meaningful levels drawn yet. But if I look probably here at a level, that's about 20 points, and it's meaningful enough where we stopped on Monday. We've got some support and resistance there. Maybe not as meaningful on the hourly, but give us a pivot level. It's the same place we struggled to get above here. So that's probably something of interest to look for. And yeah, it looks like on this, this close, we continue to fail, but fail to close below 930, 950. I mean, closed below 950. We failed to close beneath this level, so it's a good idea for a level. We probably have one up here somewhere close to 980 as well. Where I'm just looking at some pivots here to here, maybe here to here. So it gives us another idea. this happens to be two in the same 100-point range. And sometimes if price is trading a lot in a smaller range, if it's ranging outside of this or it's in a trending market, it won't hold and respect these levels as much as if it's consolidating in between a market. But that gives us enough to go trade off of for this. We should have enough levels to trade off for this session. We might need one to the upside of 30,000, maybe 30,000 up to 100. So a couple more levels we can draw on the 1 hour. So we'll give ourselves a couple to the upside. Looks like a good pivot right here. Do we have some more support? I only see support here. I don't see much resistance here. So this is a psychological level. It's just 30,000 on the nose. It will overshoot it a little bit. Oh yeah, look at that. We found one over here. Then we found some over here. So that works. Yeah, this is not perfect science. This is just, these are in crayon. As I say, a lot of times they don't have to be perfect. Let's see what else we got. Maybe one right in here. The 60s. Yep. Okay. Give ourselves a couple levels. That still looks pretty good. Maybe we'll move this up just a hair. And got one in between here somewhere. Yep. Looks pretty good for one. Let's see if we got another. Anything else? Oh yeah, okay. So what do we see here? Support and resistance right at this level between these two. So somewhere between, call it 930 and probably just about 900. I like this one better. Like it to be here. Let's see. That looks okay. Yeah, I think that that one will be okay. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it looks good on this level to the body here. All right, let's lock some of these down. I think we should have enough to close the one here in the middle, but we should have enough that we can go down to the 5-minute and actually trade on now as well. Does that hold? Yeah, that looks close enough as well. Where's my box at? Oops. This is why you use an indicator that someone else builds that draws it all for you. But it's good to understand how they're how you're identifying support and resistance, and even that you get to a point where you don't need all the boxes. You can just kind of look at the structure. Usually, if you've got some recent price action just to the left, you can look at it on one of your time frames, and then you can, it's enough for you to trade off of. So. Okay, so that should give us some, and then I probably just need to clean some of these up because did I draw two of them here? I don't know why I have two. I have two of them here. All right, two of these are All right, let's see here. Oh, I know what happened. I drew some on this. So I drew it on the 5-minute, and then I also drew it on this one, so I had an overlap here, and I think something similar happened here. This is the one I drew in the higher time frame. I didn't change the color on it like I do with the dailies, and I think I drew this one on this time frame. Tighten it up because I don't have this one here. And you can make a decision on which one you want to keep. You know, is 30,000 meaningful? Is this one still meaningful? Let's just clean this one up. All right, so we should have enough that we can work from here. So if we look at the hourly, it's pretty weak. It's pretty weak, to be honest. We pushed up, you know, after from Asia, we pushed up all night. We got a good rejection at 30,100 up here. We tried to retest it one time. We accepted way down beneath 30,000. So I think we probably got continuation to kind of balance this out. We've had a lot of price trading in this area, a little bit in between, and then we're trading back in this area, but we haven't really traded back in this area much from a volume perspective. So what I don't have loaded here is the volume area visible range, volume profile visible range. Sorry. So you can pick one of these. Oh, really picked a terrible indicator to use. Volume profile. Not that one. Let's try another one. Points of control. I don't see it showing up. Okay. It's still figuring out what it's going to do. So the one that I use most of the time is just the volume profile for the day, and it shows me where volume was from the previous day. We're just now in an open, so it's still building the volume profile for the day, but most of our volume was in this range from the previous trading day. So from 900 to probably call it 30,020, right? So got a little over 100 point meaningful range with volume. I mean, we had some price trading beneath, but as soon as we opened, we basically decided that our range was going to be, I call it 850 to 30,050, so 200 points range. And we haven't really balanced the volume beneath here. So multiple daily sessions, the only time we've had meaningful volume was down close to like 29,500. So there's a bit of a donut hole in the volume, and we have to come all the way back to 4 or 5 days ago to see meaningful volume back in this area. And there's a daily pivot in between. So I'm looking for us to probably continue down. And usually if that's going to take place, we're going to go sweep some stops first. So instead of just going straight down, we might be pushing up and testing 30,000 again to see if we want to continue, maybe up to 30,100, which was near the high of the day before we roll over. But I do think on the daily that this candle is going to close beneath the body of this candle will be beneath 920, 930, and most likely, or the wick we might have a wick for this entire period, and the body will close back down closer to 850. All right, well, that's enough on drawing boxes for levels. That's how I do it. There's no magic to it. That you draw it and then I trade off them. That's it. I'm gonna stop the recording. If you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer questions.